Hey, John Sonmez from SimpleProgrammer.com. So you can see I'm still here in Amsterdam, and behind me in the background, if you're watching the video, you can see the Vincent Van Gogh Museum. I just actually came out of the Vincent Van Gogh Museum, which is pretty interesting. I thought I was a little skeptical, like, how's there a museum for just one artist? But it is filled with his paintings. There are a lot of his paintings, and that's kind of what I wanted to do a video about today. Kind of give me an idea here. Finally some nice weather, by the way, in Amsterdam, so enjoying it today. Been biking around and having a good time. But anyway, I've talked about quantity versus quality before, and just this idea that quantity leads to quantity, right? Being prolific is a really good way to become good. Obviously, the more you do things, the better you get at them, and that's kind of interesting about Vincent Van Gogh. So a little bit background about him. He actually didn't decide to become an artist until he was 27 years old. So he got a late start, right? He didn't really have any practice or experience, and then he self-taught himself. And a lot of it was just by experimenting, looking at other artists, and reading anything he could, but doing a lot and just a whole lot of paintings. And when you look at in the museum his early works, you can see that he's not quite so good, right? That, I mean, he's still Vincent Van Gogh, right? But you can see that his paintings, he hasn't quite figured it out, and you can see that evolve over time as he starts to get better with his technique, and he experimented with all different kinds of things, with different colors, with different styles. I think most of the time you look and you see the Starry Night or the sunflowers, and you see that style, and you think, okay, that's what he did. But that's not necessarily true. He did all kinds of styles. So anyway, all that is really just to say, if you want to become good at something, and actually one other piece here really that I found really interesting about being prolific. So during the last days, Vincent Van Gogh actually took his life, shot himself in the chest, and died 2 days later. But he went a little crazy, right? He came out of an asylum. But during those last, I think it was last 70 days, he painted 75 paintings. So that's just crazy. And I looked at some of those, and they're not like just scribbles on a piece of paper. They're like full-on masterpiece paintings. And maybe not masterpieces, but they're pretty extensive paintings. Some of them are quite large. So anyway, what I was going to say here is basically, if you want to become good at something, you can take a page from Vincent Van Gogh's book, and you can do what he did, which is to do a very large quantity, be prolific. Start doing, you want to become a better software developer, start writing code. It's okay, you got to get some material, you got to gain some knowledge, you got to read some books and learn. But you're going to learn by doing. If you wrote, a program every single day, or an application every day for a year, right? Say something small, right? Imagine how good you would be. If you want to be a game developer, a lot of, I always talk about that. Someday I think I'll do some serious game development, and my plan would be to just start creating as many games as possible, like copying existing games. And making copies of them until I just developed the skills, and trying the different styles and different types of things. And that's what Vincent Van Gogh did. Anyway, it pays to be prolific. Like, I think a lot of people are afraid to start doing things because they don't think they're good enough, and they're afraid to put things out into the world to be critiqued. But you got to do it right away. The more that you do that, the faster that you're going to get feedback, and the better that you'll get. When I first started writing my blog, I sucked. I couldn't write worth crap. But when I first started recording podcasts or YouTube videos or talking in front of people, I just said all over the place. Now I do these videos without edits, but and I don't even really care that people think I'm crazy sometimes. Heck, when I first started doing these in Europe, I was like blah 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 blah, scared to talk. But now, heck, I don't care, right? So what I'm saying is that you just got to get out there and do stuff. You just got to keep on on doing it, and that's how you're going to succeed. Being prolific is really important. The quality will come, right? You just start making crappy stuff, and I say this all the time. It's probably a pretty reoccurring theme in my videos, just because it's so important to just get your work out there and just start doing it. The more that you can't not succeed, right? I mean, this is something you have to realize, that like sometimes it pays to step outside of yourself and think about someone else. If they were doing that, right? If you advise someone else, if someone else was, spending a day, every single day, producing a new program, producing a new drawing, producing a new blog post, would they not become better? Of course they would. Of course they would, right? So anyway, hopefully you find this useful. I thought the Van Gogh Museum was pretty interesting. If you're ever in Amsterdam, definitely go check it out. It's worth taking a look and learning a little bit about his life, and seeing his paintings, just seeing how prolific he is. That's more inspiring than anything else, really. Just seeing someone that's extremely prolific and how they progress, and realizing that we need to be prolific as well if we want to become great. A lot of people call him the greatest European artist, and so becoming, having that high of a prestige, he must have been doing something right? He's not just this guy that cut off his ear, right? He was systematically figuring out how to get better, and he was doing that by doing a lot of work, studying a lot, studying other famous artists, and practicing various styles, practicing with colors and lights, doing all kinds of things to improve his skill, but constantly doing, not just reading, not just thinking about it, not just hoping, but doing. So do it if you want to succeed. All right, hopefully you found this video useful. If you're listening to the podcast, definitely subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. I might be in London by the time that I produce the next video. We'll see, but take care.